Hey, everybody, this is Heather Vickery. Welcome back to Brave in Action. This is my weekly live show where I come on and drop just a little bit of brave knowledge, tidbit, inspiration, whatever you want to call it, every week on Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. But the last 2 weeks, I wasn't here. Why was I not here? Well, I was on vacation because it's really important to disconnect, decompress, recalibrate, and do all of that stuff. We had a lovely time in Isla Mujeres, Mexico. It was really relaxing and beautiful. And I don't know about y'all, I am actually also on Instagram Live, so I'm saying hi to those folks as well. You can find the weekly live show on my Facebook page, on the Brave and Purpose Facebook group page, YouTube, and I've been doing it on Instagram Live, so you can find me there as well. I don't know about y'all, it's Wednesday, but I took a vacation from Wednesday to Wednesday, and so my days are all like discombobulated, miscombobulated, whatever you might want to call that. And as such, I'm like totally confused about what day it is and feeling a little extra tired today. I actually posted some funny pictures. I took a who's into the power nap. Do you power nap? I power nap. A really short, quick nap sometimes on my studio couch. And this time I had my favorite pillow. Shout out to CG artist Carly Grant for her 4-letter word series. Can you guys see what this 4-letter word is? I love it. Love it. I love it. I love it. For those of you who are new here, welcome. I am so happy to have you here. Again, I am Heather Vickery. I am the creator of the Brave Method, which is a creative and strategic approach to problem solving, dreaming, designing, and building a life that you absolutely fucking love. And for many of you, a business that goes along with that. Not everyone, but lots of folks. The Brave Method applies across the board. And if you have worked with me in any capacity, you know that you can use it 360 in every possible way. I even wrote a book about it. The book is called Fuck Fearless, Making the Brave Leap. I break down the Brave Method, I think in a pretty fun, easygoing way through a series of memoir stories, case studies, as well as what I call brave action, where you can get in and do the work right now and see how it can apply to you. And you go back to it over and over. It's a 0 point. It's a point that you come back to all the time. You can run off, you can do whatever it is, you can build, you can grow, you can learn, you can climb a mountain, you can fall off the mountain, and you can come back to 0 and you can do it again. When it doesn't feel right, you do it again. When things feel out of control or chaotic, you come back and you do it again. Thank you for whoever said super fun, powerful, read 5 stars. I love you for that. I appreciate it very, very, very much, Steve. Thank you. And Steve likes a good power nap. Why does that not surprise me about you, Steve Garvin? I love it. I also host 2 podcasts. I host the Brave Files. See, you see a theme. Brave is my business, y'all. And the Brave Files is where I share stories of people who have stepped out of fear and into bravery in every possible way. And I co-host a show called Was It Chance with my friend Alan Seals. And Was It Chance is all about intentional creation and manifestation, because we all know that manifestation isn't just like dreaming up a thing and then it's going to magically happen, right? Manifestation is declaring something and then changing the way we show up in the world in order to create that reality for ourselves. And that is a brave thing to do. And it's an incredibly wonderful thing to talk about. And we talk to really successful, wonderful people, including this week's episode that just dropped was with Xochitl Gonzalez, who I've known for a really, really long time. We used to work together in the wedding industry. She has written a best-selling novel that is also going to be a Hulu pilot. It is a Hulu pilot. It's out. Hulu has to decide if they're going to take it or not. You're going to want to listen. You can listen to the Brave Files and Was It Chance anywhere you enjoy podcasts. And of course, you can find them via my website as well. So today I am here, and I know why Steve is here, because telling your story, that's Steve's jam, right? And today I really, really wanted to connect with you all on making sure that you are writing your own story. Maybe that means you need to unravel your story or rewrite it a little bit in a way that tells it from your perspective. Because here's the deal. Your story is going to get told in a million different ways. from everybody you interact with, your children, your spouse, your partners, your parents, your friends. They're going to tell your story from their view because that's what happens, right? Sorry, excuse me. We all process things completely differently. We all experience things completely differently. We can have the same experience. We can all be in this room right now. We are. There are several of you here with me, both on Instagram Live and in all of the other places, Facebook, YouTube. We're all here. And yet somehow we're experiencing the very same thing in completely different ways. And the way we then tell that story and share it is going to be different. And this is your one and only life. And I want to make sure that you're writing the narrative. Your stories matter. That's why when I wrote Fuck Fearless, I did it from a story perspective. My story, right? My memoir type stories all throughout, but also I shared case studies of other people's experience. Now, of course, the case study is my story of their story. It's me writing a version of their story from what they've shared with me, whether they were a guest on my podcast, The Brave Files, or if they have been a client of mine. This is how I interpreted their story, and they were generous and kind enough to let me tell their story. But I want you to make sure you know your messaging, you know who you are. Those telling stories from our own perspective find it difficult because it's hard to be honest and vulnerable and authentic. And we risk a lot when we choose to do that. We risk a lot when we choose to do that. We risk people not liking what we have to say. Maybe they won't like us anymore. Maybe we'll ruffle some feathers. But what we give up if we don't tell our own stories out loud and own them and live them out loud is so much greater than everything we risk by stepping up onto our own stage and owning our stories and owning our truths. It is absolute liberation. Yes, we are all shaped and guided by every single one of our life's experiences. And one thing that I think a lot of people, it's a misnomer. A lot of people feel like everything that's happened to their lives right now creates their story. And I want to spin that a little bit. I want to turn it on its head. Yes, you're showing up here today in this moment, in this space, with all of your own lived experience. That's why you're finding a different experience than everyone else is, than I am. Okay. However, your story, your background, your lived experience, it doesn't define you. It maybe led you here. Perhaps it guides you. Maybe you learned a lot of lessons and you don't want to go back and do those things again, but they don't define you. That's one of the most prominent things I discover with every guest I bring onto the Brave Files podcast is that so many of them have shed a story they no longer want, a religion that they've left perhaps, or they wrote a book and it flopped, and that story, that doesn't define them. That doesn't say that they are an unsuccessful writer. They still wrote a book. They still did the thing. And guess what? You can do it again, right? There are so many different ways that our stories guide us. But part of the BRAVE method, my favorite part, so BRAVE is an acronym. It stands for boundaries, what I call the 3 R's: reassessment, reframing, resilience, action and accountability, vulnerability. And then the result of all of those things is that we expand and empower. You expand and empower yourself. That's an inside job. I can't do it for you. You do it when you show up. The BRAVE method takes you through that. And with the 3 R's, we can really apply this to telling our story, to owning our story, to, as my sweet friend Steve Garvin would say, to singing your heart song. That's a Steve thing. Go check him out, right? Go check out the heart song stuff. Take what's happened, look at it objectively to the best of your ability. Look at it with self-compassion, which means without judgment, without expectation, just as is, and see what was there for you. What was good? What did you learn? What do you never want to happen again? What do you most want to happen again? Right? Reassess, reflect, and then reframe it, make it work for whatever the next iteration of you is, and then get resilient, get up and do it again. And then you move through, right? You may need to do boundaries for that, set boundaries, communicate better, get into action, have accountability, delegate, all of those things. But when we choose those things, that's everyday brave. Those things which may seem like small, insignificant things is what I call everyday bravery. And when we choose bravely on purpose, we choose bigger and we win bigger. And it's contagious to everyone around us. They see us, they love us. I get calls, messages, DMs, emails all the time with people who say, I did this thing and gosh, it felt brave and I wanted to tell you. That is people owning their story. And also, it's why I do this work. I love it. Just the other day, I received an email from somebody who is doing work with a client that I connected her with several years ago. And she's a past client of mine. And she said, my son was having some difficulty with a school situation last week. And I thought of you as I talked to him about the fact that it's okay to be afraid. It's really normal to be afraid, but you can do this hard thing anyway. Now let's figure out how to do it. How do we want to do it that feels honest and authentic and within our integrity? Who do you want to be in this situation? How do you want to choose bravely? And it was such a gift for her to share that with me. And it's part of my journey and it's part of my story. And now it's part of her journey and part of her story. Your past has shaped you, but it doesn't define you. It does not define you. If you were one religion and now you're not, you're not. If you used to be a curmudgeony old grumpy person who never gave anybody a second chance and held things against people, and you've learned that that's a shitty way to live, it's gone. You learned that lesson. It's okay. I was just telling one of my daughters this morning, I was driving her to school and I was telling some silly stories of when I grew up because I used to vacation with my family in Fort Myers Beach, Florida every year. And I am taking them to Fort Myers Beach for spring break this year. We're going to stay with my sister in the beach, and it's going to be wonderful on the beach, not in it. And I was kind of selling some silly things. And then the conversation sort of came around to people who disappoint you. How many of you are familiar with disappointment? With the people in your life, whether they're colleagues or coworkers, friends, loved ones, family members, they disappoint sometimes. Guess what? We all disappoint sometimes. And the conversation went here. And this is a really powerful, impactful thing for me to remember and to share with you all, but also for me to come back to, a 0 point for me to come back to, which is I have been disappointed by a number of people very specifically and repeatedly in my life. And I had to make a decision. Did I want a relationship with those people where I could just graciously accept the limited abilities that they were able to offer? Or did I want to say, forget it, fuck it, I'm out. You can't give me what I need, I'm out, which is fine. There is no judgment. If that's who you need to be to care for yourself, you do what you need to do. But for me in these situations, it was about choosing to not live in anger and frustration, to embrace forgiveness and to say, I get it. We're all limited. We are all only able to do what we are able to do, right? With our skills and our knowledge and our capacity, we can only do what we can do. And if this is the best you can do, then I'm going to love you that way. And we're going to make it okay. For me, that's how I want to move through the world. And when we talk about rewriting and rewriting our own stories, this is an important component for me. Yes, people have done things that made me feel bad or sad or angry or hurt or mad. And I could choose, and we have the right to choose to be frustrated and angry and live in that space. And that is not my choice. That is not my choice. In writing my story, and I hope as you move forward and write your story, you write it from the lens of moving forward, from the lens of growth and learning, from the lens of being brave every day in all of these moments. I took a power nap. We talked about that before I got here. To me, that was brave. I have a lot of shit to do. We are launching the Brave Circle in March. I cannot wait to tell you all about it. Right now, I'm just name dropping it. We have a bunch of other cool things coming up, amazing stuff coming up on both of my podcasts, workshops, trainings, all sorts of fun things happening. And I'm tired. And the bravest thing I could do for myself was to take a power nap. But you know what, folks? That's me writing my fucking story right now. And I'm telling you that story. Why am I telling you that? Because it seems really insignificant, because I chose to care for myself without judgment and with love because I knew that those 20 minutes were going to give me something that was far more successful than pushing through in a fuzzy brain headspace of working on my computer. We have to give ourselves a little bit of a break on occasion. So I am hoping that you will take some time today to think about what got you here, to this day, to this moment. What brought you here? What do you need to release and let go of so that you can write your story in the way that you want to write it, so that you're telling your truth in the way you want people to remember it, that is louder and more honest and more vulnerable and more authentic than the way somebody else could ever tell your story? And what do you want to do with that? And then I would love to hear about it. Come back here. You can make a comment here if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. You can comment here. You can send me an email. I'm heather@vickeryandco.com. You can DM me on Instagram. Vickery and Co is my Instagram. Also, I am on TikTok. Are y'all on TikTok? I'm having so much fun. We have a new puppy. That's part of why I'm tired. He's not up here in the studio right now because he's not potty trained and I can't have him in the studio. But I'm putting videos of him on TikTok. I'm at Brave Heather on TikTok. If you are there, please come and follow me and I'll follow you right back and we can be friends there. It'll be so much fun. I see that the Nicole is there and I know Nicole and I follow each other on TikTok. Hi. Do that. And I want to hear, what are you deciding? What is your story? What are you going to own? How are you going to speak out loud and proud and bravely and share your truth? All right, let me check out some comments here. And then I'm going to pull a Create Brave card, which I promised every Wednesday I would pull a Create Brave card. And I'll tell you what those are. I'm pretty sure this comes from Steve. We are the author and the editor of our own story. Highlight the parts you want to keep or rewrite the story in a healing way. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly what we've been talking about. You're the writer, you're the editor, you're the producer, you're the developer. It's not that you want to erase it. It's not that you want to not own your truth, but where you sit and where you stand with it is quite likely very different from everybody else who's watching you move through your life. I'm reading a book right now called Whimsical Rebel. It was written by Audrey Kent. Audrey's going to be a guest on the podcast here in just a few weeks. You're going to want to check it out because she is amazing. It's a really great book. The book is all about how to stop being a people pleaser. With my phone. My phone is ringing. It's supposed to be on Do Not Disturb, but it is not. Sorry, Instagram. Am I still there? Yes. Hi. How to be a people pleaser, stop being a people pleaser without being an asshole. I love it. But one of the early stories she tells is that her dad used to have her do these perception cubes. So you would draw cubes in 3D format and then say which one's on top. And then say, but what if it's not? Right? The whole point is we all see things from different perspectives and our different perspectives are not wrong. They're just simply different perspectives. You get to have your perspective. Everybody else gets to have theirs. And there is no right or wrong in them per se, right? So it's really important as we're doing that, as we're writing, editing, publishing, producing, sharing our stories and our truths, that we understand that they are ours, that we cannot speak for others. In my book, Fuck Fearless, all of the stories, they're mine. They're from my perspective. They're from my experience. They're what I know to be true for me. People reading them may not, who have been maybe part of my life, maybe that's not the perspective that they see or they feel. That's okay, right? We all have to own that. I really love that. Okay, so last year, I co-created with my wonderful client friend, Rachel Douglas Swanson, the the Create Brave card. So they are a deck of manifestation cards designed to help you guide and source your next steps in life, in business, in anything. They are beautiful. I'm going to show them to everyone. They're amazing. We did a Kickstarter for them almost a year ago now, last April and May. Then they came in at the end of the year. We got them shipped out to all of our Kickstarter supporters, and now we have them available for sale. If you're curious and you want a deck of cards on your own, you can visit vickeryandco.com/store. Ooh, this is going to be our card for today. Does anybody do that? So if you like tarot cards, affirmation cards, oracle cards, these are the same thing. It's beautiful artwork. Each card comes with a focus word and a mantra or an affirmation. And then we have coaching guidance to go along with it to help you dig a little deeper, and some Create Brave prompts to help you think about different ways to utilize it. The very first thing that I like to do is just look at the card and download, how does this card make me feel? How do I feel when I see it? What immediately presents itself for me? That's so important, because your subconscious is there telling you something. Oh, what do I see here? What comes up for me here? And then if I want to go to the book, I can go to the book. If you're in a hurry, you don't have to. You could put it out as inspiration. I was at my mom's house last weekend, and I love that she's got hers out. She pulls a card every day and leaves it out to look at and think about throughout the day. I think that's so cool. I've been doing card pulls on TikTok, Brave Heather, if you want to like have inspiration from the cards. But whenever I do affirmation cards, tarot cards, anything like that, I just sort of shuffle until a card falls out and I feel like it's mine. And that was this card, which I haven't looked at yet. And of course, it's the perfect card for today. It's the self-compassion card. I'm going to show you in just 1 second, Instagram. Self-compassion. I allow space to be gentle and kind to myself. Now, I have to be honest, this card has come up for me several times in the last couple of weeks as a really nice reminder that it's going to all be okay, and that I can love myself through it, that we can do hard things. You can do hard things. So what does this card mean for you? How does it feel for you? I'll go ahead and read what the guidebook says. I allow space to be gentle and kind to myself. Kindness is an act of bravery, especially kindness towards yourself. It may feel strange at first, but it's very liberating. The more you practice, the more self-compassion becomes second nature. You are beautifully unique and deserve to treat yourself the way you would treat others. Saying kind words to yourself and caressing yourself. Does anybody do that? I do that. Self-compassion. Self-care. Caressing yourself has the same effect as if someone else were doing it. It releases the same endorphins and serotonin. It stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system. You are able to achieve independence in this way and not always depend on others to show you kindness in order to feel better. I'm ad-libbing. I'm adding some things from our guidebook. We could only put so many words in. Build a relationship with yourself as you would with a dear friend. Show yourself forgiveness. Give yourself a hug and know that you are worthy and valued. Know that you are imperfectly perfect and you are loved. And the Create Brave prompt on this says, give yourself a kindness hug. Write down 5 things that you like about yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and say those 5 things out loud. Find a way to physically care for yourself, such as putting on a favorite lotion or gently massaging your hands. I find that I do this to myself a lot all day. That hug, we need that. Love on yourself, especially when it comes to writing your own story, to rewriting your story, to sharing your story from your own unique, beautiful perspective. So much easier to do that when you give yourself self-compassion. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you will listen. We have brand new episodes of both the Brave Files and Was It Chance? You can find those anywhere you enjoy podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of the places. Let's connect. I want to hear how you're out choosing bravely, what you're up to. I'll be back next Wednesday, 1:30 p.m. Central, to share just a few more tips on how you can choose bravely today and every day. I want to hear what you're up to. I want to connect. Thank you for being here. This is Heather Vickery reminding you today and every single day to go out and choose bravely. Choose bravely, Instagram. Bye, y'all. See you soon.